Welcome to another episode of Toot Your Own Horn Music Matters. Today I am here with Ernie Drott. So nice to see you, Ernie.
Thank you. Thank you, Lisa.
I don't know how long we've known each other, but you have a remarkable story, and I would love for you to share it.
Thanks, Lisa. Yeah, I think we met sometime after 2010
Mhm.
because I needed someone really good to work on my clarinet because it wasn't set up when I bought it from a local vendor. And you were the magic. Your person was the magic, had the magic to fix the clarinet that I needed.
Awesome.
Me- anyway, yeah, and I appreciate that, by the way. I drive all the way to Chicago from Cincinnati just to see you so I can get your expertise in how to play clarinet and also how to fix them.
Well, you're so sweet, and I can't wait to see you in August. It's going to be great.
Yeah. Yeah. So why am I even involved in music? As a child, I think I used to watch Pinocchio. I used to watch Bambi, and my mother had the soundtracks of those movies. At least a Pinocchio one, I know for sure. And when I was three, I think three or four, I would listen to the soundtrack and I would be able to identify what was going
Oh,
on the soundtrack in the movie. And so that sort of trained me how to understand, capture emotions that had to do with music. And the nice thing I learned about music is you don't have to worry about the nuances of the words. When you make a sound, it's a sound. And you can interpret it any way you want, but you don't have to worry about someone misunderstanding your meaning.
mhm.
Um, so it was a very nice way to have expression without worrying about being misunderstood. And then growing up in Texas, back then it was in the '60s, and all the cousins hung out in the back of a pickup truck going down the road, probably 60 miles an hour, no seat belts, and we're all singing. We're just all singing together. We had four-part harmony. We sang church songs,
Oh,
and we all that's what we did. That was our life, church and pickup trucks, and going to the farms where you got to ride the horses. But yeah, so when I was uh, when I was 5, my mother remarried, and that man adopted me. And it just so happened that he had been a star clarinet player in high school in the 1930s, and he actually had a scholarship in clarinet to go to the university. But the war happened, World War II, and he became a B-24 pilot. And so when he came back, he never finished college, never went to college, never picked up a clarinet again. But when he adopted me when I was 6, because of all my music background, I thought, well, that's what I need to do. I need to play clarinet. I want to be just like him. So that was sort of the inspiration behind the clarinet piece. I do remember one of my first memories is having one of those little kid pianos in the middle of a doorway when I remember being in a diaper and having no shirt on and plinking on this piano when there was a hurricane outside in Texas. And it was, I didn't care. It was fine. Everybody was happy. A hurricane didn't bother me because I didn't know any better. But anyway, so we moved. I think I listened to one of these episodes with you talking, and I remember that you moved in fifth grade. So we moved in sixth grade, and so in fifth grade we didn't really have music class, so to speak of, and in sixth grade there really wasn't time or opportunity for me because we moved in the middle of the year,
mhm,
and so in seventh grade, I think in sixth grade I learned recorder.
mhm.
And then in 7th grade, it was time to pick an instrument, so I picked the clarinet, and that's probably the biggest year of my early music career, learning, from that music teacher and learning how to hold and play and assemble and set up the clarinet. So that was 7th grade,
Wow.
and then we moved again, and then, moved again from McAllen to San Antonio. And, there I was in the band, there in middle school, and then in high school, I was immediately put in the marching band. For a couple of years, I was doing sectionals. I was checking people off on music in my first 2 years. There was some goodness about my playing apparently back then, but, something happened and, The band director and I sort of had a disagreement, and so I decided, well, I'm going to go try basketball because I'm 6'8", and it didn't work out very well.
That's hard to believe you're so tall.
I know, but I decided that I would try it out. I tried it out for 2 years. Both times didn't work. But I needed to find a way to get to college and to pay for college. And I decided that we didn't have a lot of money, so I decided to try it for the academy. So I ended up going to West Point.
Mhm.
I was in the Glee Club. I think I showed up twice the whole 4 years I was there. And then I had this clarinet with me when I went to all of my military assignments. So I was 6 years in the Army after the 4 years at the academy, all in Germany.
Mhm.
And I had my clarinet with me, and it was the clarinet my dad had bought me in the 7th grade that was from Sears. It
Mhm.
was, off the Sears catalog. I think it was $60. He got it back in 1968, and it was grenadilla wood. That was really important to him,
Yeah.
grenadilla wood. And so I had that horn and brought it with me everywhere in Germany that I moved. And then I came back after the Army. I came back to Connecticut, where I worked for about a year. Had the horn with me. It froze. It got hot, and went back to Germany. And the thing that impressed me about Germany, about the clarinet, was the Bavarian and the Tyrolean music. My wife is from Germany, so Munich, Passau, Garmisch, Berchtesgaden, all those areas, Salzburg, it's sort of Tyrolean, Bavarian beer tent music, and it's got a heavy clarinet piece. And it was just so enjoyable. And my wife would buy me this beer tent music, for lack of a better word for my birthday, clarinet music. And so I'd pull the old Sears clarinet out, and I'd play every once in a while with that. And so this went on for years and years, just little snippets here and there, until finally we moved back to the States permanently in 2005.
Mhm.
And I think I spent 18 years overseas, back and forth. But anyway, in 2005, I started working in Cincinnati, and in 2010, I didn't really play music until 2010 when I was in charge of the Christmas program for our group. And the year before, all the engineers decided they were going to boycott the Christmas party because it was too expensive.
Oh.
And being in charge, being an engineer, I said, "Well, we've got to fix this." So I decided to invite anyone who had ever played a musical instrument to form a little group, and that would be the entertainment for Christmas party.
Well, that's hysterical.
And we would have an ecumenical service. We'd have Jewish and Muslim and Christian, and there was even a Zoroastrian there. Anyway, so we had a nice service, nice Christmas party, and I think it cost $13. It was really, really cheap back in 2010. Well, as it turns out, the 5 people that were in that band, ragtag band of people that hadn't played in years, we decided to stay together, and we played every weekend for 5 years.
Oh my gosh.
Every weekend, we'd go over to each other's houses. So, like, if it's your turn this weekend, we go to your house. If it's my turn, and we would always play for an hour and a half or so, and then we'd have, snacks, and then we go back and play for another hour, hour and a half. And in the meantime, I decided, I need a better clarinet. So I went down the street. I didn't know anything, and I just said, "Hey, I need a really nice clarinet." I looked in the catalog. I looked on the internet. Here, I want this buffet festival. So, okay, they ordered it. It showed up in a box. They gave it to me in a box, didn't set it up, nothing. And I had such trouble with that clarinet for a long time because it really wasn't set up right. And so that's when I came to you for you to help me set it up, and you've changed the pads and fixed all the mechanics of it. And then I started becoming more interested. I had took lessons from a guy at Northern Kentucky University. He was enthralled with my klezmer um, prowess, I guess.
Yeah.
I had started in 2010 because I knew I hadn't played in a long time. I need to get better. How do you get better? Well, let's see. Who are the best players in the history? Well, we got Benny Goodman, Artie Shaw, Pete Fountain. What are those guys? Okay, those guys. Some of them were, I think, Jewish, Hmm. They got their clarinets from the synagogue. What do you think they played? Oh, they must have played klezmer music. So I started listening to klezmer music, and it was so flexible and varied. You could make all kinds of sounds, and it was you could make the joy, you could create joy, you could create sadness. It was just a wonderful genre to help you create whatever feeling or atmosphere you wanted. And I loved it, and so I just I got klezmer books, I figured out how to play and learned more and more and more as much as I could. And then I joined the Anderson Community Band
Mhm.
and played clarinet for them for a long time. And in 2016, they let me do a klezmer solo, so that was
Right.
fun. That was good. And then 2019, 2018, I went to Puerto Rico and I met Kathy Jones, who's I guess she's the clarinet chair down there. And that was wonderful to meet her and just see what she's doing with the kids. Incredible. I loved it.
Yep.
But she had invited, somehow, it was such a serendipitous moment. She had invited Anat Cohen to Puerto Rico to play, and Anat Cohen played when I was there on disaster duty right after Hurricane Maria. So I was in my Corps of Engineer disaster response shirt, and I had my clarinet with me, and I got to meet Anat Cohen. I sat 4 rows back from the front. I watched her with all of her guys that she was playing with. It was incredible. And then somehow I bought all her CDs, and somehow I got to be on email with her. And so then then I started following her, and as my tour in Puerto Rico ended, I started listening to this, one of her CDs that had the song Beatrice on it,
Mhm.
and it was a song that basically featured the bass clarinet. I said, "Let me listen to this." And so I listened to it, and I used to travel all over the island.
Mhm.
It would take a whole day. We'd check out all the sites, all the construction sites all over the island because we were rebuilding the grid after the hurricane. And I must have listened to this song at least 100 times, at least. I listened to it over and over and over, and it just brought such emotion out me. I don't know, I can't explain why, but I fell in love with the bass clarinet at that time, and I didn't know what I was going to do about it. I mean, whatever. I didn't have one. I thought they were too expensive, and so I came home, and somehow I get this call from Lisa Canning in March or April of 2019. "Hey, Ernie, I got a bass clarinet for you. You want it?" I said, how did you know?" Um, s
I think we had talked about it, but
Oh, I don't know. It was amazing. So I bought this bass clarinet, a beautiful low C prestige buffet bass clarinet, and then I talked to the band directors in 2023, 2022 maybe, and I said, "Look, I wanna play bass clarinet. This is really my thing. I mean, I this is my personality. It's my wind. I have big lungs, I'm a tall guy. I
Right.
should be playing this." And, uh, and they let me do it. So now I belong to the Anderson Community Band and Sycamore Community Band, and I'm their bass clarinetist. And the interesting thing about it, people talk about it kind of jokingly. They say, "We've never heard a band director tell the bass clarinet to back off." Only with you. Only with you, Ernie, because I'm so strong and so passionate, so happy playing it. And I think the band directors are happy.
Yeah.
So I love playing the bass. And my other the Anderson band director, he wanted to bring out the Demai piece, Johann Demai piece, Klezmer Classics, and he said, "Ernie, I want you to figure this out. I want you to create a solo for right here." And, so I'm not a music major, I'm an engineer, and I kinda freaked out, and so I started looking at all the different solos you could have, and I picked out a style that I liked, and I started writing and copied it a little bit and then changed it, and I worked on this for, like, 6 months,
Mhm.
and I finally got it down to where I was comfortable, and then I was able to sort of play with it and improv when I needed to, and it turned out pretty well, I thought.
That's awesome.
Anyway, that's, where I am now.
What, what do you think kept you going when you had so many years of not playing so much? as an engineer? What was it? Was it the connection to your dad, or because you said you took it with you everywhere, but you not necessarily were playing it a lot, so it meant something to you.
Right, right. It was important to me. I'm not sure exactly why, except for maybe it was a safe form of expression. It was a way to make art that, no one, I don't, if people don't like it, okay, you don't have to listen to it, but it's my sound, and it makes me happy, and I can create the sound that I want, and I enjoyed the German music, and my wife liked it, the German music, and my father-in-law, and they all liked it over there, because it was, German Oompa music, and it was just happy. And I think after the 2010 time frame, I think what kept me going is I needed a way to disconnect from work. And so the nice thing about music is it helps you either feel the emotion or express it. You can either create it or you can experience it or you can do both. And so that was super important for me. And I have all kinds of instruments around the house, but of course I focus on the clarinets. And I think you know uh, my job, I had I was in a regional headquarters. I had 7 districts, 5,000 people in our region, and about 2,000 were engineers. And we had a big budget, billions of dollars of construction and maintenance and operations, and I needed I needed to shut that off. And if I didn't do something like play music, and reading wasn't enough, because when you read, you read and then your mind wanders. When you're playing music, at least when I play music, I have to really focus on the music. I have to focus on how I'm playing and how my embouchure is and how my hands are, and how I'm moving my hands and where is the music going, and what's the feeling I want to create, all of that. So that was a really huge blessing to, to pull away from work and find some respite in music.
Because a lot of people out there have closet instruments that they won't throw out. They also won't fix them, and they don't play them either, but they keep them, right? And you're kind of like that mix in the middle where it's like you kept taking it around with you, but something made you keep pulling it out every once in a while. Was your wife an encourager, or is it really just that sentimental feeling it gave you?
Yeah, well, my wife did encourage me because she would buy me the parts of music,
Right.
because she wanted to hear me play the German music because she missed it. We were here, or maybe it wasn't, festival time. And it was a connection to Germany also, for me,
Mhm.
made me closer to the Germans, and who, anyway. And also it was important for my connections with other people. You play music, it's surprising how many people out there have either played an instrument in the past or are playing now, just like you said. And it's a connection that you have with people that allows you to enter into a room that, everybody can feel safe in, and they can talk about music and how they feel and what their experiences were in high school or college or whatever. So yeah, I think I just always, it was almost like a security blanket, if you will.
Mhm.
I had it with me, and I knew I could do it if I wanted to, just never had the time or the opportunity, and when I did, I'd pull it out and play with it. I mean, it requires some work. You have to have reeds, and you have to keep them up, and you have to break them in, and your chops have to be sort of in shape, and you can't just play and then not play for another 20 years. You have to kind of work up to it a little bit to actually, be competent.
Yeah, for sure. It's really a lovely story because I think a lot of people could relate to the desire and interest, yet it not being the main thing, right? And it doesn't sound like it ever was even possibly a main thing for you. It was just always something that you, like you said, it was always there for you.
Right, right. And now, of course, it's interesting. It's becoming more and more important. Not necessarily just the clarinet piece, but since I've retired, last November, I was invited to teach these little kids I think they are at a learning center. These are like 4 and 5-year-olds. Teach them music. So I brought my bass clarinet once. I said, "Here's a bass clarinet." And I'm going to blow in it, and you can push the keys. And they loved it. And I taught them how to put the reed on. I brought my other clarinet. Here's how to put the reed on, and it was so cute because I had a whole box of reeds, and I didn't care if they broke the reeds. But one kid, she put the reed on, and then she said, "Oh, it's not on right." She grabbed it, and she broke it. And she was, like, scared. She was really worried that she had done something horrible. I said, "Oh, it's okay. Look, we'll just put another one out." And after that class, her dad came up to me when he picked her up, and he said, "Marilyn wants to hug you."
That's so cute.
So I get such a fulfillment. I don't know what it is, but I love teaching these little kids. It's only like once a month, and now I'm working with the other lady that sort of is more regular. We're gonna set up a syllabus. But I got them. They paid me, for my doing that for like 6 months. They gave me like a $75 check. I mean, it's a little convent. It's
Right.
so I took the $75 and I added a little bit to it, and I bought a keyboard.
Oh, like,
And the keyboard has, like, little earphones for little kids, and then it's got little stickers on the keys that show, the notes and where the notes are on the staff, and so the interesting thing there is that the last class with them, I tried to teach them to, sing a note. So, "Sing this note, and so what they did is they never got to that note. No one got to that note. I said, "That doesn't make sense. These kids should be able to do this." And some of the sounds were really weird too. They weren't like, voice sounds. So what is going on here? So in one of my bands, in both bands actually, I asked some of the music teachers I knew, and they said, "Well, these kids are trying to replicate your voice.
yeah.
They're not replicating what they hear. They're replicating what they hear. They're not replicating the note. So if you want them to sing a note, you need to play the note on a piano or on an instrument." So I got the keyboard. So they should be able to sing, and maybe we'll play it in their octave.
Oh, that's
So
funny.
it was an interesting discovery.
That's really funny. I can't wait to hear about that if that actually turns out to be true. That's very interesting. I think also that their hearing isn't just fully developed. I mean, some of them, but a lot of them, it takes them a minute because I don't know, as a young kid, you hear a pitch differently for some reason. Somebody has to guide you to it. And so maybe also coming sequentially down to it or up to it might help
Right.
like start to figure out where it is because they don't know how to connect the dots. And that sort of makes me think about what you were saying, um, which I would love to help the store that didn't set up your instrument because maybe that would helped you go faster, but how much of a connection do you think there is with that kind of guidance when it comes to a wind instrument, like having it play better? How much did you start to realize that you played better than you thought?
Yeah. So I had to teach myself, after all these years, but I mean, I started buying all these books, Clarinet for Dummies. Clarinet for Dummies is sort of too elementary. It's actually way too elementary. But then I got I can't remember the name of the books, but they talk about, the evolution of the reed and the evolution of the mouthpiece and of the ligature. And for a while there, I used, string, and tried all these different things. So I really experimented, I and I noticed that, I should not be having a problem with going over the break. I should not that should be I should be able to do that. Why is this clarinet not doing that? So, is it me? Am I messed up? And so I took it to this guy, and he said, "Well, this is right here. This is a problem." And so I paid him like $700. He took it apart, put it back together again, and tried to fix it and change some parts, and it still really never worked right.
Mhm.
And this guy he was actually a mechanical guy for flutes. He actually made
Oh,
flutes. He was really good, and so see, it was great for him to work on the clarinet, but it just wasn't enough. I thought, this can't be right. And then I started talking to people I knew about buying instruments, and they would say, "Well, dummy, you go to a place that sets them up. They set it up for you, and then you don't have this problem." that you have issues with the mechanics or whatever, because they already figured that out when they take it out of the box, because they take it out for you. And I realized how important that was, because I struggled with this for like 2 or 3 years, not knowing and trying to figure out why am I not doing okay, until other people were saying, "Ernie, your tone is good. I don't know what's going on. You're doing fine." And so I figured out ways to work around it. Like when you do go over the break, you probably need to add more air. You probably need to change embouchure tiny, tiny bit. Whatever. But I came up with ways to work around it.
Yeah, but the instrument shouldn't get in your way, and it discourages a lot of people when it does, right? Because
Yeah.
and that's one of the problems when people take out closet instruments and they're like, "Oh, I want to remember this," and they don't realize how much the instrument doesn't work, and so they immediately dismiss their ability or think, "I can't do this anymore," or "What was I thinking?" And really, it's because they had no guidance then. I can't tell you how many both students and adults play for a very long time on equipment. What mouthpiece are you playing on? The one that came in the case. Well, okay, that's good for about 10 minutes. you know, but it's not going to be good for an indefinite period of time. And you see kids going on into high school that are serious about playing who haven't even stepped up their mouthpiece. And you think of all the kids who didn't get as far as this one student because this one really loved it. The other ones were kind of like, and that's enough to make them stop.
Right. Yeah, and so I learned all that by reading. I would, and today we have the internet. It's fantastic. I would read articles, read, people that were good players, and they were always, introducing a new mouthpiece or a reed or whatever. They were pushing their wares. And I was thinking, wow, this must be important, like what mouthpiece you have or what kind of reed. And luckily, the person I was taking lessons from at NKU, Northern Kentucky University, he said, it's all, even though he was kidding, he half meant it. He said, it's all in the tools. He
Right.
said, you really need good tools to have a good sound. He said, not 100%, but it really makes a difference. I said, nah, come on. And so that's when I decided to buy that first buffet clarinet. And I did all the research. I tried to figure out, but listing, all the ways they describe these clarinets, dark, light, all the ways they try to convince you to buy it. And so this was probably a good one for me. The buffet, it seems to do this festival seems to do everything I want. And it was okay. It was a good starter buffet for me. And then I thought it was really interesting when I went to visit you. I think it was 2023, and you had all these clarinets laid out, and you said, "Here, play all these." And I said, "Well, I don't really want to pay a lot of money for one." Well, I'm sorry, but the one you sound best on is like that one. So, it happened to be the Tosca, and you know what? I've never been sorry. I absolutely love it. I have it. It's always out. It's right here. It's sitting there, always out, ready to go. I have my bass clarinet. We have a concert, in fact, this Saturday, and we have another one next Saturday. These are brutal. There's two concerts are 2 hours long.
Wow.
It's yeah. But anyway, we have lots of concerts in the summer with Sycamore. But anyway, I really appreciate your guidance, and it really does. It really is important to know people who can help you understand. If you don't, you're right. You're lost. You have no idea.
I just wish that a pedagogical focus would be more of how our industry operates because it feels to me like if we can just get people on the right path to playing, and if it didn't always correlate to the amount of money. In other words, just like any tool, you need a certain amount of a tool, and that doesn't necessarily mean it has to be the most premium. It just has to work a certain way for you, right?
Right. Right.
And the problem is that most of the instruments that are less money are very generic, and they're generic in a way that doesn't help people distinguish what features and attributes they have to bring to the playing to their playing.
Right.
Right?
Right.
So that diminishes their ability to recognize how much equipment can make a difference, and so they might lose interest. Whereas now it's also expensive. Like that's what's frustrating is that you need this thing that happens to be twice the price of everything else because it's not want, it's need. Like you sound much better with that thing, and so it's a frustrating proposition to try to educate people because people don't even know that equipment matters. So
Well, right. My latest thing is I think Ixie Chen is the
Mhm.
she's the second chair here in Cincinnati, and I took lessons from her for a while. And then she set up another thing, so I'm not in that anymore. But when I was taking lessons for her, she said, you need to like get your own mouthpiece. You need to have somebody make you a mouthpiece. I said, oh, I've never even thought about that. Because when I went up there with you, we talked about that a little bit, but you said, no, for now, let's try all of these. And it was interesting because I think we must have tried at least 10 or 15 mouthpieces. And there were, we ended up on two. And, I probably should have got both of them, but I got the one that you thought sounded the best.
Yeah.
So I totally agree with you. But the problem that we have is just like in any art endeavor, I think people are not making a lot of money, and this is not an industry where you're going to get rich. If you're teaching, well, teaching number one, and then music number two is unless you happen to make it and you make a bazillion dollars as a star.
Right.
But that's few and far between. So I think that's the problem, and I don't know how to fix that. Um,
Well, I do in part if I can get people to listen because we need more repair technicians.
yeah.
We do. We do, because if we get more stores that were able to set up instruments, perhaps your interest would have been sparked sooner. Maybe not. Maybe it was kind of circumstantial. And we need more product specialists. We need more people that can actually help with product in a very specific way. And at least that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to recruit more musicians to understand that that's the other piece of their education that will really cement their performing and teaching. Because if they can do those things, they can help so many more people and not leave it to the few of us who have all this knowledge. And it's so very satisfying to help people grow, right? And you make so many friends doing it. So
That's true. Yeah, and I can't tell you, I don't trust anyone. I don't know anyone that can actually set it up. And in fact, my band director for the Anderson Community Band a couple of months ago, because I was playing the Klezmer piece, we needed a bass clarinet to stand in for that piece.
right.
He said, "Hey, would you mind letting the person borrow your bass clarinet?" I said, "No way."
Right. I
And
understand.
I don't mean to be a jerk. I mean, that's my baby. I don't trust anyone with it, and I don't trust anyone to touch it or fix it
Right.
unless I believe that they know what they're doing. And I don't know anyone, within, a couple 100-mile radius. I mean, I'm sure there are, but I don't know who they are. And I'm
You
perfectly happy going to Chicago.
If you ever identify anybody who's good with their hands, we've trained over 350 people now, and we're working at it because we
Wow.
see it helps communities. People really start getting more inspired when there's someone they can go to that isn't a jerk and is available and wants to help them and has skills. And so it's really it's like we can bring it back. I mean, in the 60s, music was swinging, and there's no reason we can't get back to that. We just need more musicians to work, honestly.
Yeah. How long is your training for?
Our training is we started out, Ernie, is a 2-year program. The only thing I offered when we started was 2 years, and we had 30 people sign up for a 2-year program, like not tested or done, right? Which I was very pleased by. From 15 to 80 years old, big broad range of people that were treated. And since then, we've chopped it into 4 levels. So there's a level 1 class, 2, 3, and 4. 1 and 2 will get you proficient enough to do band instruments so that you can fix community instruments, but we focus on one thing at a time because we found that if you just focus on clarinet or saxophone and flute and you play that instrument, the odds go way up that you're going to do a good job because you know how it's supposed to feel and it's going to bug you. And then 3 and 4 are more advanced techniques. We can't get flute players all the way to the stratosphere because you have to get Straubinger certified, Miyazawa certified. There's additional certifications. But we could get them to the point where they're ready to be certified for some of those higher level instruments, which is really exciting. But clarinet saxophone, we can fairly well accomplish for pro horns. And we've had a lot of people be successful. And I personally think it's one of I don't know if you're really aware, but our industry is at a 50-year low and it's had 12 consecutive quarters of decline. And
Wow.
so yeah. And I really believe this is it. I really believe the things that are missing are these 2 things. More people to fix it and more people to sell it that are product knowledge base. And so we're trying to teach people. That's what our whole store has been kind of reduced to is 4 or 5 items to show people that you can really just sell a few things and do very, very well. This year we were on Inc.'s fastest growing Midwest list, which is crazy.
Wow.
And I was an Inc. female founder this year. We just got a UK award for being a great company to work for, and I'm getting an award in Dubai in December for education.
That is fantastic. But if that, so if I wanted to talk to people in the two bands that I'm in, I could probably generate some interest. I mean, I'm interested. Would we have to go to Chicago? I mean,
No, it's all online. It's all online
really?
training. And then in between level 2 and 3, there is in person. And you can also take supplemental lessons if you want additional lessons. Lessons are part of the class. There's a live class. It is a video library that's very well done. People really like it. We've gotten a lot of feedback and it's worked very well. Teachers are continuously adding to it. But you get private lessons, live classes, and a work along where you work alongside of a tech. And some people take additional lessons, but we've been really successful helping people to get, our rule is 80%. If we can get you to 80% in this format, you will be able to collect someone's money. You may not feel 100%, but they will be satisfied.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I mean,
It's a stepping thing, right?
yeah, I mean, it is kind of interesting because the people that I know that know me, they always come to me to fix it when it's broken. It's like, because I have a little toolkit. I mean, I don't know what I'm doing, but like, oh, here's a pad. The pad's falling out. Oh, let's there's a little glue. Let's put that pad back in. Here's a new pad. I have a new pad. Let's put that in. Okay. A cork. I haven't had the courage to do the cork yet on the joint, because I'm afraid I'll mess that up. But
Well, you would
yeah,
learn all those things in the level 1 class. So
yeah, okay.
definitely
Yeah, that sounds great.
Black that right out. We can talk about that some more in August. But yeah, we seriously are trying to grow. So if you play in community groups and directors, a lot of school budgets are getting cut, and we're trying to help them supplement their budgets by stipending them for learning these things. And we've got more teachers calling us saying, I got a flute player from this district, a clarinet player from this other school, and here. And now we've got a little unit, not to take away from the music store, but to supplement it. So these experiences these kids have are like, oh, it's my horn, not me.
Right.
And then they get sparked.
Right. Right.
Right.
So is there a cost to the training? I mean,
There is. It's
okay.
just a little under $4,000
Okay.
for level 1 and level 2. It's a 9-month class
Okay. $4,000 for two levels.
for 2 levels, right?
Okay.
Yeah, it's like 15-25 for the first, but really you can't do much. You need the 2 to be able to
Right.
capable. And that's not really bass clarinet land. That's really just B flats and A clarinets, bass clarinets are
okay.
complicated.
No problem.
But 3 and 4 is for bass clarinets, and it's a specialty skill. But yeah, if you could think of anyone, I'd be so appreciative. So, but we wandered off. But I appreciate
Yeah.
like learning about this.
Fantastic. I love it.
If somebody was listening to your story and just loved it, what would you tell them to encourage them to play a wind instrument?
Hmm. That's an interesting question because it's a very personal thing. Uh, when your voice is failing you, you can't sing anymore. You can play, and it's good for your health because you're having to breathe, and it's good for your mental state because you are having to concentrate and focus. They say that dancing is the best activity for preventing Alzheimer's or for dealing with, dementia in older age. I think playing music is right up there with it because you have to process what you're reading, what you're feeling, and what you're trying to project with your hands and your body through your instrument. So it's really kind of a whole it's a whole body concept. It's almost kind of like a Buddhist thing. You're sort of together with your instrument, creating, projecting this idea, this art, this message, the emotion. So I think for if you're older, I think that's a huge piece of it. If you're younger, you're going to get older. So- and
Willing.
and the thing about being young is it connects you with decent people. It's like kind of like playing tennis. You're not going to find a whole lot of terrible people playing tennis. You're probably not going to find a whole lot of terrible people playing music. You're going to find good, decent, nice people to have connections with. And if you're young, and maybe the field of people you want to meet, that you want to marry, or you want to spend your life with, or you want to have friendships with, maybe this is a pool of people that would be good rather than going to a bar or going to someplace else that might not be as healthy. So I think the social piece of it is really important, and I'm not saying that, that it's perfect. People are people, and they all have their idiosyncrasies, but in general, I think the social nature of music brings people together, and you can make harmony, and it's great. You can play music together and not be misunderstood by playing together with each other. So I don't know if that answers your question.
It did. That was awesome. Ernie, I'm super excited to see you in August. So what day is it again? Tell me, because I'm going to make sure.
Tuesday the 26th, I think.
Awesome. Well, I don't know if you have time that week for lunch, or I would love to just visit with you some more.
Absolutely.
You're a treat. And so let's see what your plans are then, but I'll make sure you're on my calendar and I'll come over and see you and
Okay.
keep in the unit next door. But thank you so much for doing this, and I'll let you know when it airs.
Yeah, thanks for letting me do this. That's nice.
For sure.
Appreciate it.
I'll see you later.
Okay, take care. Bye.